Good afternoon, my friends. DRBMiller here. I wish you all a very, very happy and healthy Easter. It is the Easter like no other that I've seen in my lifetime, and we are facing those unprecedented times with so many restrictions and lockdowns around the world, and sadly with so many people losing their lives every single day. But here in the UK, we are enjoying a very, very warm and sunny Easter weekend, which is actually quite unusual. Generally on Easter Sunday we have thunderstorms, well, in my local area that is, and sometimes even snow, but today the temperature is 23, yesterday was even 25, and really, the Mother Nature is behaving in a way like we've never seen it before. We really would prefer to have a lot of rain right now to keep everybody indoors, and what's happening is the other way around. Very sunny and hot weather, which is obviously posing a lot of difficulties for anybody who's involved in emergency services, NHS frontline staff as well as police in particular. And I'm glad to see that the vast majority of people are abiding by the rules here in the UK. But on the other hand, I did see on Sky today that there are people gathering in parks doing drinking sessions, sitting down on grass or benches and gathering socially. Honestly, that is criminal, and that really would have to be prosecuted one way or another. You're endangering everyone's life, inclusive of your own, your loved ones, and you are putting or creating a situation that can disable our NHS, our National Health Service, by helping the spread of the virus. And I find it unbelievable that the police and the local authorities are not imposing stricter measures on people who are indeed breaking the rules, because it's all well and fine to be living in so-called democracy, but if you have a pandemic of this sort, the entire population could be wiped out if the pandemic is simply not contained. And it really pains me to see that. On the other hand, the vast majority of our citizens are abiding by the rules, which is the case worldwide. I've seen in other countries as well. Some countries introduced much stricter measures due to perhaps some other factors in the local community, and these methods indeed worked. As you could see in Spain and Italy, the number of people admitted to hospital in serious condition had gone down quite sizably during the last few days, as well as the number of deaths. That is not the case in the UK. May I just repeat this once more? That is not the case in the UK. So if there is some sunny weather outside, that does not mean that the virus has disappeared. In fact, the virus may be even more potent if people are beginning to gather in social places. It doesn't matter what these places are. You know full well that by talking to somebody you are transmitting the virus, and that the close proximity, which is assumed to be 2 meters, but I think if people are exercising or cycling, the distance may need to be much wider than that, for the obvious reason a person doing exercise is both inhaling and producing a lot more air than otherwise, which can be then exchanged with anybody nearby. So really, everybody needs to first of all wake up and realize how serious this is. Sadly, it looks like we had passed the number of 10,000 casualties in the United Kingdom today. I'm not sure exactly what the death toll for the last 24 hours is, because I think due to the Easter weekend the count may not be relevant or as accurate as usual, and then we are likely to see some more casualties added to the figures at a later stage. But it just seems to be a staggering figure. More than 10,000 people lost their lives during the last 3 weeks, and that is just devastating news. And just think about it, a figure of 10,000, every single person there had their own family, their loved ones. So to hear that some people are flouting the rules is beyond me, and although I do not support any form of oppression or indeed any form of repressive measures which could be applied to the local community, I think in certain areas they may well be necessary, because individuals are so oblivious to the responsibilities which they need to uphold are simply the worst of us, and they need to be feeling the full brunt of the law. So first of all, I want to say that I'm very glad to see that everybody, well, the vast majority of people are staying at home and there are no major social gatherings anywhere. This is the way it needs to be. So just make sure that you are indeed spending your time at home, that you're doing some meaningful activity, that you're not wasting it. You can be reading lots of books, you can be doing academic studies if you have internet connection and any other device such as mobile phone or tablet. You have a wealth of knowledge there accessible to you at any given moment in time. You could in fact write your PhD thesis if you are working on mono MA, and indeed you can simply progress forward with some constructive and indeed very, very useful type of work indoors. The difficulty many people are experiencing is more of a psychological nature. It is about being restricted from the usual radius of movement and operations, and that is causing a kind of mental paralysis. People are worried, they're scared, they don't really do the things which they otherwise would, and it is really quite staggering to see that now when people have so much time on their hands, they are having a difficulty really with the actual process of using it successfully or adequately. But as I said, it is very much based on the mindset which is full of fear and anxiety and indeed uncertainty about how things are to be unraveling once we come to the end of this pandemic, which I have to say is nowhere near in sight. We are literally at the beginning of round 1, and there may be like 20-30 rounds of this. So people need to accept the fact that we are going to be stuck indoors indefinitely. And this is not going to be a day or two, and if we are facing a relaxation of the lockdown, it is going to be done literally step by step and very slowly and surely at snail's pace or turtle's pace if you want it. And the most important thing is to really conceptualize that the vaccine and medication for this illness will have to be first of all found. It's not been found yet. Secondly, it will have to be tested, and that will take months. So all of that is the criteria through which the lockdown eventually could be eased off, and that is nowhere near anywhere around the world, and most importantly in our country. We are right at the beginning, and as you could see, the death toll and hospital admissions and everything else are not really significantly subsiding. They've not really gone out of control, which is obviously tremendously important, but we are still at the very initial stage where the illness, the virus, is spreading throughout our community. So the only way to battle against it is by staying indoors, staying at home, doing whatever you can indoors, which includes also standing exercises and all other things which are very helpful for one's own physical health. I mean, I have to say that I've spent already, we count that is 28 plus 6, 34 days indoors. So it's my quarantine day 30, I would say 34, and that itself is a staggering number of days when I did not see sunshine, did not see the light of day. I've never had that sort of experience in my whole life. I really can feel it physically. I really can see it on my skin, the way I look. I lost some weight, and obviously what I eat every single day is not my usual type of meal, and all of that is a collateral of the situation, which is basically war-like. People need to accept we are fighting a war. This is not a tiny little battle or some sort of democratic rabble-rousing disagreement. That's not what it is. It is a war against the invisible enemy. If you were being hit by airstrikes and missiles, you would see where they were coming from, but you would not know at what time they will hit you. You would have some sense of coordination. In this instance, we are experiencing exactly the same, and we are being hit from all sides, everywhere, regardless of where we are. It doesn't really matter whether you're a child, an older person, a middle-aged individual, whether you're at work, whether you're at home, or anywhere else. You are being exposed to this deadly virus, and the fact that the virus is invisible and that we cannot define where it is going to be coming from is making it extremely difficult to fight against, as well as to come up with decisive strategies. The only strategies that we do know and do have at the moment is that the virus is spreading through social contact, and particularly in a closely confined areas. closed spaces like pubs, restaurants, supermarkets, shops, rooms, workplaces, and therefore it is absolutely essential that everyone is adhering to social distancing and abiding by the rules and the measures which have been placed. This is really, really fundamental. I can't stress how important it is, and nobody should be even considering to do anything else which is outside of what has been ordered by governments and various local authorities around the world. I believe in our country we've done everything we could, but some will say that some of the measures are still too relaxed, and I did see through social networking forums as well as through some medias that particularly the NHS workers, if they go to parks and go to public places, they can see people who are flouting the rules and are asking for stricter measures to be in place. And quite frankly, the statistics, once properly gathered, will show basically whether people are respecting the rules or not, and then indeed there could be some other measures applied. I don't understand for the life of me as to why somebody should be even considering doing anything but what was advised. It just literally defies logic. Do you want to be playing with gas if you have a gas leak in your own home? Well, I can certainly tell you that the vast majority of people will never even dream of doing this, but that's exactly what those guys are doing. So anybody who's considering going to the local beach or the local park and run a barbecue or get together with your friends, you simply should not do this. You need to be away from that. You need to be at home, alone, isolated in full, and by doing so you are going to be first of all protecting lives. Secondly, you will be protecting the NHS or your own local regional health service. NHS in Britain stands for National Health Service. And thirdly, and most importantly, you are going to be a hero because you're preventing the spread of the virus. You are going to be in a position where you are helping the national, international and global effort through which we are fighting against the disease. All of us are involved in this on different levels. As you know, I also run a service that is helping people who suffered casualties through the pandemic, and it is a service that provides psychological and emotional help. That includes obviously many people who were from the families who had lost loved ones, and all of us in our community would like to say to everyone, thank you for respecting the rules and thank you for helping us and for making sure that the virus is not spreading. But to all other people who are perhaps not doing this and breaking the rules, I could just say you are beneath contempt. And so, just to summarize my introduction, unfortunately already for quite a few weeks my introduction was very much based on the information related to coronavirus and COVID-19 worldwide. We do have actually one bit of very, very good news which is highly encouraging, and that is about our Prime Minister, Mr. Boris Johnson. He in fact has been discharged from hospital. He's no longer requiring medical care in a hospital setting, and he's going back to the Chequers. The Chequers is the residence of any standing Prime Minister in Britain, and he will spend quite some time there in order to regain his health, so there will be no work and he probably will have very little contact with the ministers or anyone else for several weeks ahead. It's very good to see and good to hear that he is recovering so well and that he doesn't need any form of medical treatment or any hospital treatment at the moment, and that certainly will be very, very rewarding and encouraging for the rest of the nation. Whether you agree with Mr. Johnson, whether you disagree with his policies, whether you like him or indeed perhaps disagree with him, that's quite irrelevant. He's a democratically elected leader of our country, and all political parties stood behind him and indeed joined forces in order to make sure that they would wish him a very speedy recovery, because a nation facing a major crisis, a major emergency without a leader certainly is not quite the same as the one with a person who is in that position, able to guide, help and direct. So we are very, very happy to see that he is indeed discharged from hospital. So that's really very, very good news, and thanks goodness this had happened on Easter Sunday. I'm very, very glad to have received such news. So to summarize, remember, stay at home, stay indoors, be a hero. So hashtag Stay at home UK, hashtag stay at home UK, hashtag stay indoors UK, hashtag be a hero. Make sure that you are helping our effort through which we are fighting many battles around the world in this continuous ongoing very difficult war against this dreadful disease. And I honestly cannot understand anyone who is thinking otherwise. Right, so yesterday we had introduced Gears of War 5 here on my channel. The reason for that is very simple. The game's offered free of charge through Xbox Live Gold for the whole weekend. That includes also tomorrow. And we are really experimenting a bit with the game and introducing it to everyone. I yesterday played a campaign with Kate, and today we'll do a bit of campaign. We'll probably try a bit of PvE as well. I mean PvP, I beg your pardon, with versus Escape and Horde, because there were new maps and new updates introduced earlier this week, hence the access for free through Xbox Ultimate and Xbox Live Gold subscriptions, and we want to really explore that a bit. I have to say that generally these are death matches that are very difficult. You require a lot of knowledge and skill if you enter, but we'll do a bit of those in order to introduce really the multiplayer for people to see what this is like if you enter and get some ideas on how it all works. So that's pretty good, and I think without further ado we'll just crack on with some activity. We'll carry on with our campaign. You would have remembered that yesterday we were exploring a setting where that scientist was conducting deadly experiments at his headquarters. We did find the disk which had some recorded messages, and then the entire facility kind of imploded and we had to get out. And now we are on our way to the two towers that are providing communication for the enemy. So we are going to be attacking those. So bear with me. I'll be cracking on with our campaign mission literally within seconds. Have a breath of fresh air and make sure you're ready for more action in our wonderful Gears of War 5 here on my channel. Alright my friends, let's just have a look at what is before us. Campaign it is going to be. We'll continue with Act 2, Chapter 4. I'm playing Kate. Our mate here is Dell. We're doing Act 2, the source of it all, which is the second chapter in the Gears 5 saga.
Right. Well, we just gotta access data from the command console. You ready?
And a bit strange. Oh yeah, no, that's correct. We did manage to get in, I think.
Figures. Console's not working.
Huh. There is power in here. Could be a blown fuse or something. Just need to access the circuit panel.
No, this is not it. Didn't save by the looks of it.
Well, we just gotta access data from the command console. You ready?
We try it again, but I don't think this is the right thing.
Figures.
If I remember
Console's not
correctly.
working.
Huh. There is power in here. Could be a blown fuse or something. Just need to access the circuit panel.
No, that's correct. Okay, so that's fine.
Good eye, Jack. Hey, there's some kind of junction box up in the vents.
No, this is not it, I think. And for some reason I can't actually see whether we are broadcasting, or I hope we are. I don't think that's the right thing to do. Let me see. No, that one bit. Hold on. I remember doing this before and I've forgotten what I was to do with Jack, because I think Jack needs to be doing this. He needs to be getting up there. Support. Shock trap, that's not it. Support. Passives upgrade. I see, so the part of the console is supposed to be done here, so that's what we need to be examining. Tell you what we'll do. We'll replay this because he probably would have given me some instructions and I didn't listen to that.
Right. Well, we just gotta access data from the command console. You ready?
Figures. Console's not working.
Huh. There is power in here. Could be a blown fuse or something. Just need to access a circuit panel. Good eye, Jack. Hey, there's some kind of junction box up in the vents.
I wonder what we need to do in here. Something to do with Jack was certain. Because we can't go there, he needs to go there. Well, I'm stuck in here, quite frankly, I'm not sure. What I need to do. Maybe it's the other way, I don't know. Let's see. It's like really, oh. Oh. Abilities and upgrades, it's the other one. Equip, equip. Sea assault. Now needs 4. Okay, so that sounds good. Temporary arm boost, 25% stronger than before. The trouble is it's so dark. Let me see what I can look at the options. Video. See whether it's going to be better now. Not really. Now we can see a bit better, so that's right. Maybe too bright really for outdoor sequences, I don't know. It's been geared for proper 4K display, you know, high quality. But for whatever reason on my system it's still kind of looking a bit dark, so. But obviously I can see a bit better now compared to pitch black that I was facing earlier, so some improvement. Okay, I can't go there. No, there should be Jack going there, almost certainly. You see this? This is what it is. This is what it is, and it's sort of semi-hidden. So if you come here and you look around, and I wouldn't have seen it before had they not increased the brightness mode here.
Jack, get in there and restore the power.
Good on me.
Good job, Jack.
Let's get Jack connected to the console. Get in there, Jack.
Unauthorized access. Security protocol initiated. Error. Security protocol inoperable.
Huh. Security systems on the fritz.
Let's just check the transmission data before it locks us out. So, we scanned for a transmission that matches the one we found at New Hope.
Yep, that's it.
Get the crypt signal that picked something up. Use L. decrypted. What's going on?
Get in there, Jack. Shit. Another bust. That's not it. Got a signal match. Northwest. It's another tower. So can we use that data to find the lab?
Not yet. We're gonna need that other tower to complete the trace. So what do you think? Should we update Marcus?
I'll hail him from the skiff. Let's just get out of here.
Let's get out of here, just like she said. Oh, we can't get out of here. Okay, must be the other door then. It might have been unlocked, we'll see. Let me see. Now we got the hammer burst, retro lancer, frag grenade. Check maybe that Nasher.
I'm taking this.
Put hammer burst on. It's ammunition, I think. Yep, that's right. Double check everything
It's time
there.
to get out of here.
How'd I pick this one up though? This is odd. I will not be able to do it from here. It's a bit silly, really. So you should be able to. The jack on myself should be able to get up there, but we
Let's
are.
get back to the skiff and head to the other comm tower.
Some ammunition. Snub. Okay, that one a miss.
Turrets. Weird amount of security for a comm tower, isn't it?
I don't know. You're asking me like I work here.
Thought there was a collectible in here, but I didn't see it, didn't spot it yet. Oh, 5 components in there, that's pretty good. So I've got 6 already. That's really good. Hang on. Salt. Upgrade. Concussive. Flash inflicts moderate damage. And then we have flash freeze. So these ones all have been enabled. The idea is to be unlocking all the skills for Jack. Jack's very useful, as you could see here, helping us with everything. More skills unlocked, the better.
Think we can get out this way?
So we completed our works here, by the looks of it. It's a bit too bright. It's a bit annoying, you know? It's like really too dark in there, and now it's too bright. If we go indoors, then we can obviously increase it, decrease it, whatever necessary, so it's all good.
Sure you don't regret coming along?
What? Are you kidding? I'm doing everything I love. Skiffing, freezing my ass off.
So it looks like we need to go to another tower.
So, I have a question. Foz, has he always been like that?
Always. Gotta be the toughest. Gotta be the fastest. Gotta be the strongest.
But not the smartest?
In that area alone, Foz has got a realistic view of himself.
Zigzagging it, just in case. It's funny because a lot of people, when they do PUBG or Battle Royale, they run in a straight line, you know, rather than zigzag it. Not tried really Call of Duty Warzone with a 4-piece. It's been introduced this week.
They found out the little we already know.
Probably why every first minister's covered it up.
Even Anya. She was literally the most honest person I've ever known.
So, what do we do? What do we tell?
Maybe no one. What would be the point? The people behind all this are dead.
So, do what Anya did. Nothing.
Oh, we are here. Alright, that's cool. Alright, my friends, what I'll do now is I'm going to be watching the daily press conference, and after that we'll carry on with our Gears of War 5 adventure. I want to see really what the latest situation is in our country on this very, very strange, very quiet, very grim Easter Sunday. So until then, that'll be probably in about 45 minutes or so. Maybe you want to join me in watching the news broadcast as well. The press conference that the government officials will do as every single day. And we'll be back in about an hour or so, and we'll carry on first with Gears of War 5. I did say that I was going to be dedicating more time to the game today, and then later we'll have a bit of Elder Scrolls as well. Both games are accessible for free through Xbox Live Gold, so if you are a subscriber, or indeed if you're on the Ultimate, then you'll be able to access them with ease. If you're on the Ultimate, you have your Xbox Game Pass, and therefore you can also play the games at will without any restrictions. But it's primarily for people who are on the Gold scheme, and definitely the best possible opportunity for everyone to try those wonderful big AAA blockbusters and experience them firsthand. Okay, so I'll be back in about 45 minutes, and until then, yet again, I still wish you a very, very happy and healthy Easter weekend.